Hi everybody, Helen with you today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this gorgeous Kate scarf. Now this scarf is about 7.5–8 inches wide, and you can make it as long as you like, but my recommendation is usually around 70 inches for a scarf for an adult female. You can see the stitch pattern, although it's gorgeous and it's really quite simple 2-row repeat. It's not really a pattern for the men. You can try it if they like it by all means, but if you've got a manly man, maybe it's not the best option to go for. But like I say, it's an easy 2-row repeat as long as you know how to do, in American terms, a double crochet, a chain, and a front post double crochet or a back post double crochet. I'll just show you the back there. So the back is nice and flat, so it's going to be nice and soft against the skin. And it's actually, despite the gaps and the chains, it really is quite a nice warm scarf. So today I'm going to be making the Kate scarf in this, which is Stylecraft Special Aran in Aspen, and you're going to need about 400–430 yards in order to make it the whole 70 inches. Each skein of this has 214 yards, so I can get away with 2 balls of this to make the scarf. And you can't see this because of the way they make them, but a 5mm hook. So Aran in UK terms is actually a 4-weight yarn, so you can use any 4-weight yarn with this, or you could go up a yarn size and use a bigger hook, it doesn't matter. And let's get started. So with this, you can either, our pattern is written to either foundation half double crochet the first row, in which case you would foundation half double crochet 31 stitches, or it also has the chain option, so we're going to chain 33. So for this particular one I'm going to use the chain option, so we'll chain 33, #30, 31, 32, 33. So you can see it's not a particularly long chain to start. We'll be working short rows. So when you've chained, you need to do 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets in the 6th chain from the hook. So we'll need to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chains from the hook. I'm just going to come in a bit so you can see that. I'll count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chain from the hook, and we need to 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. Now this is US terms, remember, even though I have my British accent going on. And then we'll skip 2 stitches, so we'll skip these 2, and in the next stitch we'll work a double crochet. So I'm assuming that you know how to do a double crochet, and then we'll skip 2 stitches, and then we'll do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then another 2 double crochets, all in that same stitch. Can you see how they've all been worked into that one? And then we'll skip 2 stitches and we'll double crochet into the next stitch. And then we'll skip 2 stitches and we'll do 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets all in that same stitch. Sorry, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. And then we'll skip the next 2 stitches. Apologies if you can hear that rain, it's getting quite dark and dismal here. And we'll work a double crochet in that 3rd stitch. And then we'll skip the next 2 chains. So we'll skip these 2, and then in the 3rd one here we'll work 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets. And then we'll skip 2 stitches and we'll do a double crochet in the next stitch, and then we skip 2, and in that 3rd stitch we'll do 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets. Golly, that rain is getting a bit heavy, isn't it? And then we'll skip 2, and then that'll bring us up to the last stitch, and we'll just work a double crochet into that last stitch. And as you can see, when we just pull that out, that's what you've got to work at the moment. So now when we're working the next row and subsequent rows, we're going to be working into these single double crochets and the chain 1 space. So as long as you can identify them, we're good to go. So if we turn our work, and you can either chain 3 or do the alternate chain 3 in the 1st stitch, which is the method I prefer personally, just because it gives a better finish and it doesn't look as gappy. So in order to work that, you simply do a single crochet and chain 1. And then we're looking for this chain 1 space between the 2 lots of 2 double crochets. You can see it's quite visible, and we're simply going to repeat that, and in that space we're going to do 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets. And then we'll skip these 2 stitches, and in the next stitch we need to be doing a front post double crochet. So instead of working into the V stitch at the top, we're literally going to work around the post. So your hook comes in from the front, around the back and back through the front to pull up your yarn to work your stitch. And then in the next chain 1 space, so we'll skip these 2 double crochets, in the next chain 1 space we need to do 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and another 2 double crochets. And then we'll skip these 2 double crochets, and in this one we need to front post double crochet. Then we skip the next 2 double crochets, and in the chain 1 space we'll work our 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And then we'll skip these 2 stitches, and we'll front post double crochet around the next stitch. And then in the next chain one space, so we're going to miss these 2 double crochets, we will do 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then we'll skip these 2 double crochets, and around the next double crochet we'll front post double crochet, and then we'll skip these 2, and in that chain 1 space, which is the last one of the row, we work our 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then in the very last stitch we just do our ordinary double crochet. So don't worry about doing a front post, we're just going to work into the stitch as you would ordinarily, and that finishes off the row. And you can see that doing those front post double crochets is really making these stitches pop. So then for the next row we'll turn our work and we'll do our alternate double crochet in that very first stitch. So that's a single crochet and a chain, and then we'll miss the next 2 stitches and we'll work into the chain 1 space, and we'll do 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets. And then we'll skip these 2 double crochets, and on this double crochet here, the one that's by itself, what we need to do is, if I show you on the grey one again, how these columns go all the way up so there isn't a break in them. So we need to make sure that it pops on the other side every time we work. So we need to do a back post double crochet around those ones. So instead of taking the hook through the front, round the back and back out through the front, we're going to go the other direction. So you're going to go in from the back, across the front, and then back out of the back of the stitch. Just show you, so there's the stitch there, and then we'll work our double crochet, and then that continues the texture up the one side of your work. So then we'll skip the next 2 stitches, and in the chain 1 space we'll do 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, then we'll skip the next 2 stitches and we'll work a back post double crochet around that next stitch. Oops, didn't quite hook that one. And then we skip the next 2 stitches and we work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then we'll skip the next 2 and back post double crochet around this one here. And in the next chain 1 space, there it is, we will do 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, and back post double crochet in this one here. So we'll skip these 2 double crochets and we back post double crochet into that one. And then for the final lot, the final repeat, working into that chain 1 space, work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then for the last stitch just work a double crochet into that chain 1 from your alternate double crochet on the previous row. And if we turn our work, you can see that working that back post double crochet instead of a front post is continuing to make this stitch here and here really pop up on the right side of the work. So we basically repeat those last 2 rows. So for the next row, alternate double crochet to start. In the chain 1 space all the way along, you need to be doing 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then you'll skip the next 2 double crochets and you'll front post double crochet around the next stitch, which really should be standing out to you now, so you'll be able to see just by looking. And then we'll skip these 2 double crochets and we work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets into that next stitch, into the chain 1 space, and then we front post double crochet around this one. So we'll miss these 2 and we'll front post double crochet around that one. So you do that all the way to the end of the row, making sure at the end of the row you just work a normal double crochet, no need to do front post. So really the only difference in the 2 row repeat is whether or not on these stitches you do a front post double crochet or a back post double crochet, and it just depends whether the front of the work or the wrong side of the work is facing you. So we do that all the way along. So that's your first row repeat, and the second row repeat, almost there. So that's all there is to the scarf. Simple 2 row repeat. So remember, on both rows you'll start with an alternate double crochet, which is a single crochet and a chain 1 right at the beginning. Then you'll work into the chain 1 spaces. Every chain 1 space along the row will have 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in that one space. Then you skip the next 2 stitches, and depending on which way you're working, you will have a front post double crochet around the next stitch or a back post double crochet. So if you've got this side facing you, when you're working across with the protruding front post double crochets, you will front post. When you're working this way with this side facing and you can't see those posts going up between the fans or the shell stitch, whatever you want to call it, you would back post double crochet. So that's the only difference on the row repeats. You just alternate which one's front post and which one's back post. So because on this one I can't see those divisions standing up, this is going to be a back post row. If I was working with this side facing, it would be a front post row. So you just need to repeat that 2 row repeat until your work measures approximately 70 inches. If you've chained to start, once you've reached your desired length, then just fasten off and sew in your ends. If you've done a foundation row to start, then basically all you would do is 1 row of half double crochets all the way along. So each stitch in each chain 1 space you would do a half double crochet in, and it would just mean that it would just, both ends would look the same then. So I've done those 2 row repeats until I've reached 70 inches, and as you can see it looks really quite pretty in this aspen. It's like a greeny blue. It's really quite nice. And because a chain started, there's no need to do the half double crochets along the top to finish the row. So then you would just fasten off, weave in your ends, and you're done. I do hope you've enjoyed this project today. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so. Just hit that little bell icon and you'll be notified every time we update our channel with a new video, etc. And as always, you can find us in all of the usual places. On Facebook at Sunflower Cottage Crochet, and our community group at Sunflower Cottage Crochet Community, and on Instagram we are sunflower.cottage.crochet.2 TOO. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.